Welcome back, and today it is Belial time. Guys, I'm pretty excited about this deck I am bringing you today. We have just recently obviously had the Skybound Dragons release, and with that brings a new archetype to the game and to Abysscraft, and that is Evo Abyss. So, been playing this deck quite a bit. Still tweaking it, got some ideas of ways that we can adapt as well, but I've got a list that's pretty good, and I'm going to share that with you now. We're going to talk about the deck, how it works, and then we're going to jump into some games. So if you like that, hit that thumbs up, and let's jump on in. All right, so here is the deck list, guys. So as you can see, we are running several win cons, right? So the first thing is that this is an evolution deck, right? So we have lots of ways of getting evos off for free, and that means that we can get the double Sandolphin to kind of jump out the deck, and gives us a locked and loaded 10 damage shotgun in hand to pull the trigger on whenever we need it. Okay, that's the first win con. Often you'll you'll clear the board and then you'll Sandolph and you'll win. The second one is obviously Belial himself. Now, Belial is a pretty good card on 7 just for the fanfare, right? Just deal 10 damage to all other followers. That is an amazing AoE, I think. And I think that if nothing else was written on this card, that would probably still be a pretty good 7-drop and C player. However, obviously, he can become a win con deep into the game. If we get the Super Skybound art, then this guy basically puts a quest in hand, right? And it's countdown 4. And at the end of that, it just does 20 damage to the enemy leader, which is super powerful. So, quite often, I will actually keep Belial in hand in the opening mulligan, because what that means is he gets to see all of the evos that happen, and therefore we're able to get his quest going first. And especially against slower decks, right? So against like Haven, for example, Rune as well, maybe even Modabiss, I would keep Belial in hand. Maybe not against Sword so much, although if you've got a really early hand in the other cards, maybe you could, because he's still an AoE, right? And that might help, but probably look for survival tools against Sword and heal. So okay, so that is our Belial win con, and the other thing is this deck can do amazing just sort of board trades, and it's got some of the best burst healing I think in the game through the use of Nehan. So what we do is we play this with a load of bats, and basically we get somewhere between 11 and 14 heal, burst heal. So that's pretty impressive stuff. So let's take a look at the other cards. We've got 3 copies of Lilith. I think this is a pretty essential 1-drop. It's a really great way of getting early tempo and giving us a bat. And guys, you really want to be quite aggressive with the tempo in the early game, using those evos quite aggressively as well. Often you'll just use an evo on a bat or on something like that. And Lilith is a good engine for getting this whole game rolling. We do have 3 copies of the Almeida. I think this card's pretty good. It's a 2-drop. Which is a removal in a pinch, but I actually like saving it and playing it on 4 because we get one of those evolutions in the bag, and it comes out as a 6/4, which is pretty impressive. Now the Ghostly Soiree, this is kind of like your main 2-drop, really. This is kind of what you want to be hitting every game in the early game. It gives you a good 3-drop as well then, because really Satea we want to be playing when we can evo something. So sometimes, for example, say you're going second, you might play on turn 4, you might play like a bat, evo the bat, and then drop Satea. So you have a 3/3 and a 5/5 on turn 4, which is pretty good with Rush on both of them. Wing Servants is excellent. I think what you want to be looking for in your mulligan is either Lilith or Wing Serpents. You don't necessarily need both, but definitely getting one of those, because that means that you get bats then in the graveyard, and that's important because when we look at the things that bring things back from the dead, we really want some bats in there. Gran and Jita is just everywhere at the minute, isn't it? What a good card this has been. The flexibility is just phenomenal in the late game. Skybound art, meaning that it evolves itself. I quite like to play it when its Skybound art is triggered, but obviously in the early game, if we don't have a 4-drop, we can play it, especially in slower matchups. This is a good one. Supplicant Entwining, obviously this is not a mode deck, but it's just a really good ability. Against sword, we can use this for the heal. Against most things, dealing 3 damage without needing an evo point is really, really good. And obviously, if you do evo, you can deal 3 damage twice and trade. It's pretty powerful. It's still one of the best cards in Abyss at that point of the mana curve. Now, Charon, I'm kind of mixed on Charon. I feel like this card, obviously, it's decent because it can bring back an Almeida. I actually played a copy of Phil Dow, and I still think there's an argument that running 1 copy of Phil Dow might actually be pretty good in here. But it's pretty good bringing Almeida back, right, with the flank, and then usually a bat, and you can evolve that and get heal. So she gives you access to heal and a bit more rush damage. I think this is a card that I could see maybe dropping like a copy of. I particularly think that getting the 1-drop hard removal in there would be would probably add something to this deck, because it's pretty good with the AoE clear, but sometimes it can get a bit stuck with big things. So I'd probably be tempted to drop 1 Charon for 1 copy of that. But again, that's just me theory crafting. This is the deck I've actually tested, so let's stick with this. We already talked about Sandalphon, and we talked about Nehan. I think Nehan's really, really good. Obviously, you can use it with things like a Ghost as well to get burst damage. Some people are actually running the 3-cost Temple that puts 2 Ghosts down, because you can time that with Nehan, and then that's 6 damage to face, which is pretty good. But yeah, I think overall this is a very, very good card, and I love the burst heal. It's won me a lot of games. We've got 2 copies of Olivia. Olivia is, apart from obviously keeping drawing into our main win cons and giving a bit of heal, I think it's one of the rare cards that gives us puts out a big board of, big bodies, for example. But the really key thing is, obviously, when you Super Evo Olivia, you're basically getting 2 Super Evos, and that matters when you're trying to trigger Belial and trying to trigger Sandalphon, right? So 2 copies of Olivia for the ability to get double Super Evo off for Skybound Art is actually very, very important. And it's something I overlooked when I first started playing the game. But I think hitting an Olivia with a Super Evo is worthwhile doing, to be honest. Medusa's just excellent, doesn't cost you an Evo, loads of targets right now for this thing, for killing stuff. Really, really good into like Garyu, really good into Norman. Yeah, Medusa's just in a good spot, I think, at the minute. And the best thing about Medusa as well not the best thing, but one of the good things is that she costs 7. And what you'll note in here is that we run 2 copies of Lyria. And Lyria, you play it on 8, and she pulls a 7-drop, and then she gives you +1. She gives you 7. She basically costs 1 if you play her on 8, right? Which means you can play her with a 7-drop. So you'll notice that all of our big end stuff is all 7, which has perfect synergy with Lyria. So it's that's a really nice combination. And then we've got Fidel. This is probably my favorite card in the deck. I really love this card. Like the emergency heal that this card gives you. Sometimes it'll bring back, for example, a Lilith and a bat, and so the bat heals, and then Lilith can trade and then puts a bat in hand, right, which you can then obviously bring on and use an Evo or Super Evo, or you can bring it on later with Nehan. So I absolutely love this card, and the thing I love, I think probably the most, is the ability that says at the end of the turn, give all enemy followers -2/-2. Sometimes you can board lock your opponent with this ability. You don't even bother killing stuff, you just put them down. So like against Wardhaven, you'll often have like a couple of the things, even after an Aether board, that are quite low attack. So giving them -2 to their attack, even though you don't kill them, is kind of all you need to do, to be honest. I really love that card. And then obviously Belial, as we've already talked about, is your big AoE thing, and your alt win con as well. So in the early game, guys, when we're talking about mulligans, you really want to be looking for a Lilith, or you want a winged servant. You don't need both. Ideally, you've got the Ghastly Soiree, because you can play this out on 2, get the skeleton down. You can play the zombie then on 3, and then into turn 4, you really want to be looking for, depending what your early board state is, and depending if you're going first. If you're going second, you might evo a bat and play like Satyr, for example, or you might just drop a supplicant down. And then on turn 5, you look to play like Charon or an Evo, and then you're well on your way. Obviously, you never keep Sandalphon in your opening hand, but you do definitely want to consider keeping a Belial, and sometimes even a Fidel as well, providing you've got a decent early board, especially in Those really slow matchups, though, I would pretty much always keep Belial. So that's the deck, guys. Let's jump on into some games now and see how it works in practice. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for all the support. Let's go. Okay, so we keep the Lilith and the Fidel. Here we're up against Haven. I like to keep a Fidel or a Belial in this matchup, to be honest. So he drops the card draw, and we're going to drop Lilith. Okay, nothing to do here. A little bit of an awkward, slightly awkward curve. He gets his Grimnorn 3, which is exactly what you're looking for as the Haven player. Now, we do decide to coin out the extra play point here. By playing the Supplicant, we can obviously keep our board and keep putting pressure on, and that's kind of what it's kind of the game plan here. And that's perfect timing on the Almeida. Such a good trade for us, right? 6-4 into a 1-4. It's just such a healthy trade for us. And obviously, because we got the 2 units, we do Evo. And this is what I mean about being aggressive with your Evo, making sure that you're pressing your enemy, and he's already had enough. So it's kind of a good example of an early curve game. And often that can be, you can just win games just with that alone. All right, so we got Haven again. Let's see if we can get a proper game against them now. So we don't need double Suarez. We just keep one. We've got the Belial in hand. And then we pick up the second one. That's a little bit... I mean, obviously in the long run, it's good. Against any other leader, I'd be a bit disappointed to have 2 of them in hand in the opening mulligan, but we should be all right. So we're going to get the skeleton out here. And again, you know, I use the extra player point. Oh, lucky. Looks like we've got Storm. Amulet Haven, I mean. Okay, so we could be facing some pretty beefy burst damage here. Yeah, he's already hitting us in the face, look. Interesting. Okay, so down comes the Ghost to trade with that. We're going to Evo Rotting Zombie, and then we can play down our Satyr. And so these are the kind of like really good early boards that you can get with this deck, guys. It's really cool. Like, I think I'm realizing with that Satyr, like, just having a 1-drop, having something that sticks and getting an Evo and then into that is an incredible tempo play in the early game. So we're actually just going to heal here because I'm a little bit worried about this this burst Amulet Haven deck. So we're going to do double heal and then just use the Evo point to kind of get the trade. Meanwhile, the existing board keeps putting pressure on the board. This is getting an unholy vesseled. It is. Now, this is really awkward. Oh, no, it's not. We've got the Grand Jita, isn't it? Sorry, I was thinking it was a different... Yeah, okay. So we're just going to draw on the left. It's not like an amazing turn, but we're still putting up a board. And actually, he uses the AoE clear. Nice. I like how he used that, actually. It's one of the cool things. It's a rare thing, because usually when you AoE, you're still leaving the board, but this is actually creating a board and putting storm damage on, so it's kind of achieving 3 things at once. So we are down to 7 health. This deck can put a lot of damage out, obviously, so we need to... Ooh, and we actually don't get a bat, so we actually play the bat, and we Super Evo it. And that's because we actually want to heal. And we do trade to get another bat in hand. And then remember the -2/-2 at the end, so you never have to finish the units off. Ooh, here we go. Agnes. Now, is he going to trade here? I guess he's got to, right? Like, if we hadn't healed there, he would have obviously probably been looking to just hit us in the face and win. So now we're going to play the bats and Nihan. And so we go down to 8, but then look at this. Look at the heal, and we're back to 20. And this is what I mean about the bats, guys. It's just, I absolutely love the heal in this deck. It's so much fun. GG. Okay, now we got Portal. Get rid of the Sand Dolphins. We've got our Lilith, we've got our Almeida. Charon can bring both of them back. So it's quite a nice synergy in the hand here. Down comes Lilith. Really enjoying the new backgrounds as well. The new board, the music. So we're going to use Almeida here just as a 2-drop to trade. Puts it in the bin, in the graveyard for us as well for Charon. Okay, Tempo's out the axe here. So we're just going to go wide here and say, like, don't think you've got anything that can clear that. Next turn we can Evo. But actually... Oh yeah, we actually went for the Charon play, okay. And then we can Evo the bat and go face. There was quite a lot of different ways we could have worked that out. But I think this way actually meant that we can put a bit of pressure on face as well. Because remember, like with Egg, he's just gonna grind us out. Okay, getting an Evo out on that is pretty good for us, I think. And this bat just ain't going anywhere, is it? So we're going to keep up the tempo. Sometimes find the sort of turn 5, turn 6 can be a little bit awkward with this deck. I mean, going second is good because obviously you get the play point. We've got a lot of 7 drops, but we only have one 5 drop. I do wonder what Aragave would be like in this deck. I mean, card's never bad, right? But just having the 7 removal could be quite nice, actually. Okay, I'm always like, phew, we made it to the 7 drops. Let's go. So obviously, we just need to be able to deal 4 damage to this thing, and then Fidel's ability will finish it off at the end of the turn. So we're going to either the bat that was on board, keep pushing damage whilst healing. Bats, 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 baby. Bats, bats, bats. Okay, so the Shenna down, that's the second egg. Uh-oh. And the Melody... not sure why he hit Lashena and not one of the eggs there. Other than obviously he keeps them both together, like both healing and both dealing damage at the same time. What's Lyria drawing? Oh, he's got 3 eggs. Oh, ouchie. So he has got the board state that he wants, that he dreams of. Now, we do get our Sandalfin out, which is good. So Belial goes down. Now, we don't actually Super Evo, and when I've only got 1 point left, I think this is one of the things is like, originally I was just always Super Evo in to get the thing down. And I'm not sure whether it's right. I'm starting to think it's not right. Let me know down in the comments any Evo players whether you think I should have Super Evo there or not. I prefer actually using it on the second one. And also, you know, we're just kind of wasting it. Like, it's not doing anything. So first Sandolph comes down. And here comes Odin. So I think here we will use it, right? Because we're kind of like getting pretty close to being on the clock here, and I just want to put a ton of pressure. He's got no Evos or Super Evos, and now we've got 15 health damage on the board. We've got Aura on the board, and we had 11 health on our leader, and he's got to do all that and kind of finishes off really now. It's getting close, but I think it's not close enough. And there we go. We get the Belial finish. Kaboom! GG. So we're just going to keep Lilith here. Potentially should have kept the healer. Yeah, I think against Sword, actually, maybe I think it's correct to play to keep the healer there, especially when we had a 1-drop. So obviously in the early game we want to fight for the board. Oh, he's got the Randall. So we just have to play vanilla Satyr down here. It's not ideal, but we're just trying to avoid like as much chip damage as possible, although he's getting 3 in here. So now we got the Supplicant online, so that can clear this off. And what I like with Supplicant in this deck is it gets us to the Evo turn. You see how we got 1 more turn before the Evo? It's like an Evo unit in a sense. So now we're going to... He's actually played fairly weak things, so we're actually going to draw. We're going to play the bat and Evo the bat. And the good thing here is the bat actually survives. So he's like he's got to deal with it, right? Because otherwise keep healing all day. And because he's got to deal with it, is he going to use this? Yeah, you see that's damage not going to face. So, I mean, just love the bats in this deck, guys. They are like silently the MVP of the deck. And again, Supplicant's going to be able to do its thing here. I think we're going to Ghastly here, yeah. It's kind of like a rare opportunity. Problem with Ghastly sometimes, if you don't draw it in the opening hand, it can be a bit clunky to play. Down comes Zeta and Beer. So we're going to Super Evo the Skeleton because that can actually put some damage on face, and we only need 1 board clear here. Nice little bit of chip heal from Olivia. Now then, is he going to use the Odin to clear here? Probably, right? And this is fantastic. Like, one of the things against Sword that you want to do is you want to put up a double unit board when you're going into the Odin turn, right? So if you know it's turn 7 next, if you can have a decent double unit board, it really just prevents him from really being able to take over in the kind of race, right? Like if he goes face, then you're going to have something on board to kind of go back at, and he might have to use it for removal. And you can see he's got a handful of Odins here, so he's okay. This time he does go for setting up the lethal though. And so one of the things we're looking for is like, when does he go in like that? And then this is when we need to heal. So Fidel is going to allow us to... and what we can do here is I even play the other bat because we know he's got Albert, and I just Super Evo that to hit the 1-drop. And then we're basically out of the Albert range, so he quits. Okay, we're playing Dragon, and guys, this is an insane match. Something happens in this game that is just insane. So you're gonna definitely want to see this one through to the end for sure. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe what was going on in this game. So anyway, let's go. So he drops down his Phylene, right? And we've got the Ghastly Soiree off, and that's just so nice seeing that in our opening hand. And we're gonna actually drop the Lilith as well. So we know we can trade with this now, just with what's on board. And then we drop that Rotten Zombie, just to have something a bit sticky, which is quite cool because we've got the Satyr in hand, right? So that means we could Evo, next turn, we could Evo the Zombie, right? Because with its stickiness, and then get the Satyr out. Do we do that? So we got Evo Zombie, Satyr. Yes, we do. Nice. And then push face. So far, so good, right? I do like these. I really like these openings that you can do. Now we are going to Evo, and we're going to put up a decent unit here. We could have obviously used the Ghost, but obviously we've got Olivia's in hand, so I'm thinking that maybe Maybe the Ghost will come in use because there's no other low-costed units in hand at the minute other than that. Draw the Sandolphin. Not great. Okay, so Olivia comes down, and we actually do go with the Ghost, and we decide that I'm going to leave the 2/2 up. Obviously, we could have done it with the Winged 7 and put the bats down. Potentially, that's a better play, to be honest, but trying to put the beat down on Dragon, because I quite like the fact that if I make them a bit defensive, if I just let them keep playing the Storm units and winning the race, we're probably just going to lose. So that was the thinking there. But maybe the bats are better. I don't know. It would have forced him to trade there, wouldn't it, if we'd played the bats? Because he'd have had heal units on the board. So maybe that is a consideration. Fidel doing a thing and giving us some heal. Now, here comes Guy Yu. And this is where the Medusas are particularly useful, right? So happy to see it in your hand when you're faced with this board. Sandy, out you come. Oh, we did burn a chair on there. So there's another thing you've got to be bearing in mind is like your hand size, particularly when you're playing Ghastly Soiree, because it puts 3 cards in hand. And yeah, at this point in the game, when Sandy's going to be bouncing into your hand, you've got to be kind of calculating. So we're down to 7 now, right? So we're going to go with our bats. And what we're going to do here is we're going to actually... Okay, I wonder why we didn't do the Oh, I know why we didn't do Naham. Because we only had one target that we could attack. So it was going to die, so we wouldn't have got the benefit from other bats. So that's why we made that play in that way there. Now down comes Wilness. This card is being quite problematic to play against. I think Large Intimidate really is quite difficult, you know. It's I think this might actually force the Belial. I don't know whether we've... Oh, it is online anyway, so that's fine. We wanted to play a Belial. So in this occasion, like, it's gone pretty well for us, but that card can be problematic big time. I think even if we hadn't got him online, we might have had to use him there anyway. Just for the AoE. And look at this pressure, guys. I mean, how many Storm units have we seen so far? Right, but the heal in this deck is so phenomenal. And here, now we can use the Nahan, right? Remember, he does 2 damage to your own face. I've actually killed myself a few times because... So you got to be mindful. But look at that. Up to 14. And down comes another flanker, another Storm unit. This time in Forte. And then I think we're going to... Yeah. We're going to get a little bit more chip heal. And then we're just going to let Forte die to Fidel's -2. This is a really nice play on 10 as well, that you can actually play a Satyr on 10 with Fidel, getting the more Evos off, so that's another good combo. Now check this out, guys. Check this out. This is where the game starts to get madly interesting, right? So we use this to heal. And I'm like, okay, well, we got him, right? GG. No, he plays the 10-cost Zoe. Now remember, Zoe makes himself 1 health, but is invulnerable for a turn. Also gets Storm. So he comes and hits us, and he can just hit us in the face. And we're like, oh, so our big OTK didn't work. Right, never mind. Let's heal. Let's try and heal. Let's take over the board. We're running out of resources too, so we need to draw. So I'm like, okay, so it's not too bad, right? Because our OTK didn't go off. We've recovered quite well. No, he's got a second Zoe. Oh my lord, he's going to be invulnerable for another turn. And here we go. And he just hits us in the face. Keeps using the fangs to clear the board. And now we're down to 6 health. And I'm like, well, I don't actually really have any heal. So down comes Charon and puts up some wards. And surely this time we got him. No, he plays the 3rd Zoe, guys. He's always in a row. What is going on? Oh, my lord. And I'm like, I'm on 1 health. I'm on 1 health, and I've got no Evo points. So I'm like, what do I do? Now, this is where I make a mistake, right? What I should have done here, I shouldn't have done this, because obviously Charon puts down makes departed units have ward. So the correct play would have been to just put as many departed units down as possible. We've got plenty in our hand, right? I don't know whether that would have been enough, to be honest, because he could probably do something to get a 0 cost and then just AoE, right? To clear the vanguards and then do his storm. But because we didn't have it, we ended up losing that one. But I just thought that was a really incredible one to show you that we pretty much had it in the bag except for 3 Zoes. Awesome game. Okay, so after that madness, we now have Runecraft. Let's see how we get on against Rune. Now, we do keep the Belial in this match. Get our Ghastly off. And into Rotting Zombie. It's such a good opening. I really want to drop it down to 2 cards, because in the late game, you just really don't want to see this card, but it's just such the perfect opening, so that's why I keep the 3, really, just for the consistency. But you could definitely play around with 2, and especially if you're running the Lyrias and the you could play around with it and see if you can make it work. Enchanting Perfumer. So we are up against Dirt Rune or Earth Rune. Yeah, Evo's the Enchanting Perfumer. That's a nice turn for him. So we're going to Supplicant here, and then we're going to probably Evo the Skeleton, right? And then this way we kind of we give 2 decent units and we push board. That said, he will be probably looking to Morelia's. No, he's got the Alchemic Flare. That'll do it as well. And then the Perfume, that'll do it. Yeah, that works well. And he's building up a heck of a lot of Earth right here. But we're going to Supplicant again. I think this time we are going to get the bats out. Again, it's a bit of a bridging turn. I always feel like there's always like this one bridging turn, and I sort of breathe a bit of a sigh of relief once we hit that 7 drop. Maybe we should have evoed proactively as well. That's a legitimate consideration there. Would have had Belial a little bit closer to the thing as well. But now we can get the double. Yeah, by playing Olivia, we get the double evolution benefit, right? We're probably... Are we going to push damage here, or are we going to clear? I think we're probably going to push, right? Because we've got so much heal, and we're on 20, so we don't mind taking 4 to face if he really wants to do that. So we super evos Penelope, and that's really good. Like, we're getting... obviously, it's giving him some heal. And we're forcing those points out of him. So we're going to Gran and Jita here. Okay. Okay. And then Satyr, right? And so we get lots of... we get 2 evolution points off again. And that puts our Belial now is on 13. So that turn that I said we could have evoed and we didn't, that would have actually been it, right? Out comes Sandy. So we can drop Belial and Zombie. Manages to clear with the flare. Sweetness of victory. So we're down to 13. And another Sandy. Don't need the draw, so we're going to use that to clear board, put a body down, and push a bit more damage. Charon comes out as well. I like the little bit of chip heal from Sandy. Okay, down comes Lanthem. And is this going to be his last Super Evo? It is. Banishing the big units, trade into a bat. And does manage to clear the board. So we get the heal. I believe we're going to be going into the bat here, right? We've got to stay healthy, right? So we play the ghost out so that we can actually kill the beefy Lilanthem. Obviously, it's going to come back, but at least it's only a 5/5. And we're back up to 19 health. So hopefully you're seeing, guys, like how impressive the heal is in this deck. Yeah, he's setting up like the Ars Magnas and other sweetness. But actually, have we done it with Sandy? We haven't. But hopefully that's a big enough board. Yeah. The point of the big board is to defend against Sandalphon, right? Is to make sure all these pings are hitting board units and not your face. We still go down to 5, but we did have enough to survive. And Belial comes in. Booyah, with the finish. GG. So that is it, guys. That is the Evo Abyss deck. I do think this is one of the most fun decks that I've played with so far since the new set came out. Let me know down in the comments what you think. And if you've got any really good ideas for tech choices, I don't think this is like necessarily the finished article, but I do think this is a really good, it's a really good build. I think there's definitely a little bit of tweaking. I want to try some of the one-drop removals. I'd even like to try Aragavi in there as well, particularly for those bridging turns that we talked about. But it's just trying to figure out like what you can trim, what you can cut. Yeah, let me know what you think to the deck, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. And if you did enjoy this, please subscribe to the channel and check out this video next. Take it easy.